The North America legal cannabis market is expected to reach $32 billion by 2028. Unfortunately, recent cannabis stock market volatility has made it difficult for many investors to find opportunities to participate. Pure Verde Cannabis is in position to become the leader in the pharmaceutical cannabis movement through technology, innovation, and growth. As one of Oklahoma's top private label manufacturers, Pure Verde is seeking investors to help them bring their A-game business model to other states. To learn more about investing in Pure Verde, their 13 private label brands, and the advantage of being located in Oklahoma, go to pureverdecannabis.com/investors. This is not financial advice, so before making any investment purchase, we strongly recommend that you consult with your financial or investment advisor.
As long as we see a pathway to them becoming a dominant player, then that's where we're going to put our money. We're writing bigger checks than we ever have now because this fund is a little bit more substantial and we've got more firepower with co-invest opportunities from our existing investors, that we feel like this is really the last chance that private capital is going to have to invest ahead of institutional capital, because once things change, it'll be like just any other industry where institutional capital gets all the deal flow.
From the PodConx studios, high in the Rockies at the beautiful Beaver Creek Resort, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show.
Today at MJ Bulls, we are continuing the 5th annual Cannabis Investor Series sponsored by PodConx, the cannabis industry's exclusive cannabis podcast network that actually allows cannabis companies to advertise. Go to podconx.com to reach more listeners. On today's show, we're joined by Matt Hawkins, the co-founder and managing partner at Entourage-Effect-Capital. Matt, welcome back to the show.
Dan, thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you could carve out some time today because with so much uncertainty in all the markets, it is an especially challenging time now to know when to make a cannabis investment. And you have so much experience in investing, not just in cannabis, but you do have over 8 years of cannabis investing. So I'm assuming you've lived through a bunch of economic cycles. How does the cycle we're in right now compare to others?
It's pretty funny. You mentioned the cycles, and we talk about it a lot, but how the dog years it feels like we've been investing, and it's only since 2014. But we've already lived through at least 2, if not 3, pretty significant downturns. And this one is different for a couple of reasons. One, there are macro issues in play now outside of cannabis. There's a lot of uncertainty with what's happening, the economy, the inflation, interest rates, et cetera, and all that does impact money that's flowing into cannabis because it's usually from high net worth individuals, family offices, mainly retail investors on the public side. For us, though, it's a huge opportunity because on this downturn, we're closer than we've ever been to some type of legislation, whether it's the Safe Banking Act or if we get lucky, some type of quasi-legalization, in the next few years. So at some point, the companies that we invest in out of our third fund, which is typically larger scale building opportunities, whether it's in a single state or multi-states, plant touching or not, we see those being the first opportunities for re-rates and exits when institutional capital enters. And so it really doesn't frighten us. In fact, on the contrary, it excites us because its valuations have reset and it gives us a real good chance to come in at meaningful discounts to where things were just a year or two ago.
Yeah, you mentioned valuations, and there was a period of time where valuations were really high. In fact, a lot of people would say they were overvalued. Over the last 18 months, the valuation pendulum has really swung in the other direction. Do you feel that there's been an overcorrection and cannabis companies are now undervalued?
Without a doubt. When Biden got elected and then the Senate flipped to the Democrats, that there was this fervor of something's going to happen really quick. And we had this huge spike. Well, obviously that didn't happen. And when things kind of got normalized, the value just started shrinking, and it went the other direction. So I absolutely feel like that there are some amazing buy opportunities publicly and privately.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about your company, Entourage Effect Capital, which is invested in over 60 cannabis companies. You're currently deploying capital from Fund 3. Can you tell us what type of companies you're investing in and where you feel the best opportunities are right now?
Sure. As I said just a couple of seconds ago about the scale building opportunities, I mean that's really what our main focus is. We look at as many sectors as we can in the industry and look for the leaders of those sectors, whether it's the single state operator in a new and upcoming state that has licenses to go into others. That's an opportunity for us if their management team has excelled and they've become a leader in that state. Ancillary plays where they need growth capital to enter a new state, bring on new customers, et cetera. As long as we see a pathway to them becoming a dominant player, then that's where we're going to put our money. We're writing bigger checks than we ever have now because this fund is a little bit more substantial and we've got more firepower with co-invest opportunities from our existing investors, that we feel like this is really the last chance that private capital is going to have to invest ahead of institutional capital. Because once things change, it'll be like just any other industry where institutional capital gets all the deal flow.
Are you ready to make a career change? Is cannabis your passion? Find the right job at a great cannabis company today with a free account at Vanx.com. Vanx has spent years developing relationships with the top cannabis companies. So whether you're looking for a temporary gig at a music festival like Outside Lands or a C-level position with a large MSO, Vanx makes it easy. Simply upload your resume and credentials at Vanx.com to connect with companies directly, or talk with one of their expert recruiters. It's all free through the Vanx platform. So what are you waiting for? Get the career you've always wanted by signing up for your free account at Vanx.com. That's VANGST.com. And learn why so many people are proud to work in cannabis. It's funny, 2 years ago when we spoke during the COVID, we were all excited about cannabis being deemed an essential service. And there was so much hype, like you said, after the election. And it seems almost unfathomable that people would not consider this such a good investment right now and take advantage of some of these really good valuations. Let's switch to earlier stage companies. I know you have a relationship with the ArcView Venture Seed Fund. Can you explain the mechanics of that relationship?
Well, sure. We're a majority owner of the ArcView group. And so as a result of that, we have the ability to co-invest with ArcView Ventures and the seed fund on an unpromoted basis. So it gives our investors a free look at the really early stage stuff too, which is great because we do have a carve out in Fund 3 for those early stage deals, which is a really important piece, of investing in cannabis because it's still a nascent industry, even though we've been around since 2012, arguably, when Colorado and Oregon and Washington went legal. That's only 10 years. And so there's new technologies, there's new companies, there's new products that are being developed almost on a daily basis. And we don't have the time and the wherewithal to look at every single venture deal that comes across our desk. So we rely upon Jeff Finkel and his team to be our source for those early stage deals. And it's been great. I believe we've made 4 investments, the ArcView group, in our third fund.
Yeah, it seems like a great feeder program for you. Like you said, you don't have to spend a lot of time going through decks. And Jeff does a great job over there of sifting through and talking to people about their business, maybe helping them make themselves more presentable.
Yep.
And that's an essential service, but it's very time consuming. Clearly your team has other things that you need to focus on. So it's probably great to have that in your quiver. Before I let you go, there's a lot of investors out there right now that are just on the sidelines. They're not sure what to do, but they realize the potential with cannabis investments right now, but they're just uncomfortable doing it on their own. What are some advantages of investing with Entourage Effect Capital?
Clearly, our track record and longevity. I mean, we know all the players in the industry. Very few deals get done on things that weren't sourced by us. I mean, we can actually source and put together deals that no one else has the ability to do simply because of the relationships. I mean, I like to say we know where all the bodies are buried in the industry. we know who the good actors and the bad actors are. And so that's when it gets rewarding. And so we do feel like we have that ability to hand that benefit to our investors because, we've worked hard for that.
Yeah. Well, I think your reputation precedes you. And I think if you're not already investing in the cannabis industry, Entourage Effect Capital is a company that you may want to consider working with. And we'll have all of the information in the show notes. So if you're a cannabis company that's looking for funding, or you're an investor looking for a firm to manage your investments, just click the links in the show notes to connect with somebody from Matt's team. Matt, another year. It's always good to have you on the show. Thanks for doing this.
I appreciate it, Dan. Thank you, bud. Take care.
You too.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to PodConx.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
Infused, a cannabis talk show, is a one-of-a-kind look inside the cannabis industry. Meet the amazing people who make cannabis businesses bloom as they join host Nick with Francesca and Mike for creative cannabis conversations. Get an honest look at the business of cannabis, including trends, best and worst practices, products, education, and advocacy. Whether you're canna curious or running a cannabis, Infused has canna conversations that count. Infused is available on YouTube and is now streaming as part of the PodConx network.